Video 14. Difference between project phases and project processes. The purpose of this video is to present the differences between project phases and project processes. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video and want us to continue with new topics. Subscribe to the channel. All content is free. You can also comment suggesting topics you would like to see on this channel. Thank you. To show the difference between project phases and processes, let's first talk about project phases. First, let's remember what the project lifecycle is. Project lifecycle is a framework that guides a project from start to finish and is made up of a series of phases. And let's also remember what the project phase is. Project phase is a collection of logically related project activities that culminates in the completion of one or more deliverables. Please note that at the end of each phase there may be one or more deliveries. Projects may be separated into distinct phases and subphases. These phases and subphases are generally given names that indicate the type of work done in that phase. We saw in previous videos that the PMBOK guide shows that all projects can be mapped to the generic lifecycle shown in the figure. Starting the project phase is the first step in the project management process, where you define the project in broad terms to demonstrate its value to the business, where the project idea is defined, evaluated, and authorized to proceed. In this phase, you also describe what will be accomplished in the project, define the reasons for undertaking the project, and the value it will bring to the business. From there, you can use this information to gain buy-in from key stakeholders. The organizing and preparing phase is a project management phase that involves developing a plan for a project. This phase involves developing 1. An integrated project schedule to coordinate the activities of the design, procurement, and construction teams. 2. A detailed budget to enable the project team to track project expenditures against expected expenditures. 3. A conceptual design and detailed drawings for use by the procurement team to begin ordering equipment and materials for the implementation team to develop labor projections, refine the construction schedule, and set up the campus site. The execution or implementation stage is the third stage, and at this point the deliverables are physically built. The person or group assigned to carry out a task will need to know, in detail, what the task involves as well as any dependencies and timescales. At this point, a group of management processes are being used to monitor and control activities, focusing on time, cost, and specification measures to ensure acceptance reviews are passed. Finally, once there is an approved end product, the project can be formally closed and evaluated. This final fourth stage involves delivering the project product to the customer, redeploying project resources, and conducting a post-project review to learn from both the successes and the mistakes to capture lessons learned in order to take that experience forward to the next project. However, in reality, the project lifecycle should be more detailed, with phases and subphases. Using multiple phases may provide better insight to managing the project. The project phases may be established based on various factors including, but not limited to, 1. Nature of the project. 2. Unique characteristics of the organization, industry, or technology. 3. Project elements including, but not limited to, technology, engineering, business, process, or legal. Examples of phase names include but are not limited to 1. Concept development. 2. Feasibility study. 3. Customer requirements. 4. Solution development. 5. Design. 6. Prototype. 7. Build. 8. Test. 9. Transition. 10. Commissioning. 11. Milestone review. And 12. Lessons learned. Here we have other examples of applications and their phase names. For a software development lifecycle: 1. Planning and requirements analysis. 2. Defining requirements. 3. Design. 4. Development. 5. Testing. 6. Deployment and maintenance. For a generic product development project lifecycle: 1. Concept studies. 2. Concept and technology development. 3. Preliminary design and technology completion. 4. Final design and fabrication. 5. System assembly. 6. Integration and test. 7. Product launch. 8. Operation and maintenance. 9. Closeout. Now, let's turn our attention to the software project lifecycle. Let's take a look at some of the deliverables that can be produced at each stage. Here, we have chosen only 2 deliverables at each stage for ease of explanation. In the first phase, requirements analysis and planning, we have 2 deliverables. 1. Feasibility study. 2. Project management plan. For the second phase, requirements definition, we have 2 deliverables. 1. Functional requirements document. 2. Requirements traceability matrix. And we have 2 deliverables for each of the other phases. With this last slide, we have a project cycle with its phases, with 2 deliveries for each phase, and we conclude our content by presenting the project lifecycle and the project phases. Now, let's start our presentation on project processes. Now, the key question is: what is the relationship between the project phases and the project management processes? We have already seen the PMI definition of the project lifecycle. We have also seen the PMI definition of project phases. Now, let's look at the PMI definition of the project management processes. Project management processes: a systematic series of activities directed toward an end result, where one or more inputs are acted upon to create one or more outputs. And let's look also at the PMI definition of the project management process group. A project management process group is a logical grouping of project management processes for achieving specific project objectives. But what is the relationship between the project management process and the project management group process? The PMI guide defines 49 project management processes. These project management processes are divided into the following 5 project management process groups. First project management process group. 1. Initiating process group. Those processes performed to define a new project or a new phase of an existing project and obtain authorization to begin the project or phase. The processes included in this group are presented in the figure. Here we have 2 processes. 1.1. Develop project charter. Project charter development is the process of developing a document that formally authorizes the existence of a project and designates the project manager. 1.2. Identify stakeholders. Project stakeholder management includes the processes needed to identify the people, groups, or organizations that may impact or be impacted by the project, as well as analyze stakeholders' expectations and impact on the project and develop strategies to manage them. Second Project Management Process Group. 2. Planning Process Group. The processes required to establish the scope of the project, refine the objectives, and define the course of action required to achieve the objectives the project was undertaken to achieve. The processes included in this group are as follows. (2.1) Develop Project Management Plan. 2.2 Plan Scope Management. 2.3 Collect requirements. 2.4 Define scope. 2.5 Create WBS. 2.6 Plan schedule management. 2.7 Define activities. 2.8 Sequence activities. 2.9 Estimate activity durations. 2.10 Develop schedule. 2.11 Plan cost management. 2.12 Estimate costs. 2.13 Determine budget. 2.14 Plan quality management. 2.15 Plan resource management. 2.16 Estimate activity resources. 2.17 Plan communications management. 2.18 Plan risk management. 2.19 Identify risks. 2.20 Perform qualitative risk analysis. 2.21 Perform quantitative risk analysis. 2.22 Plan risk responses. 2.23 Plan procurement management. 2.24 Plan stakeholder engagement. There are many processes here, but I will highlight a few of them because I will use them later in my explanations. For example, I will give more details about the following processes. (2.4) Define scope. Define scope is the process of developing a detailed description of the project and product, including the boundaries of the product, service, or result and the acceptance criteria. 2.9 Estimate activity durations. Estimate activity durations is the process of estimating the amount of time required to complete each activity with the estimated resources. Third group of project management processes. 3. Executing process group. The processes performed to complete the work defined in the project management plan to satisfy the project requirements. The processes included in this group are as follows. 3.1 Direct and manage project work. 3.2 Manage project knowledge. 3.3 Manage quality. 3.4 Acquire resources. 3.5 Develop team. 3.6 Manage team. 3.7 Manage communications. 3.8 Implement risk responses. 3.9 Conduct procurements. 3.10 Manage stakeholder engagement. Here, I will provide more details about the following processes. 3.1 Direct and manage project work. Directing and managing project work is the process of leading and executing the work defined in the project management plan, as well as implementing approved changes to the project scope. 3.4 Acquire resources. Resource acquisition is the process of obtaining team members, facilities, equipment, materials, supplies, and other resources needed to complete the project work. Fourth group of project management processes. 4. Monitoring and controlling process group. The processes required to track, review, and regulate the progress and performance of the project, identify any areas in which changes to the plan are needed, and initiate the corresponding changes. The processes included in this group are as follows. 4.1. Monitor and control project work. 4.2. Perform integrated change control. 4.3. Validate scope. 4.4. Control scope. 4.5. Control schedule. 4.6. Control costs. 4.7. Control quality. 4.8. Control resources. 4.9. Monitor communications. 4.10. Monitor risks. 4.11. Control procurements. 4.12. Monitor stakeholder engagement. Here, I will provide more details on the following processes. (4.3) Validate scope. Validate scope is the process of formalizing acceptance of completed project deliverables. 4.5 Control schedule. Control schedule is the process of monitoring the status of the project to update the project schedule and managing changes to the schedule baseline. Fifth group of project management processes. 5. Closing process group. The processes performed to formally complete or close out the project, phase, or contract. The process included in this group is as follows. 5.1. Close project or phase. Here, we have only one process. Close project or phase is the process of finalizing all activities for the project, phase, or contract. With this last slide, we conclude our content on the project management process and project management group process. Now we are ready to look at the differences between project phases and project processes. The PMI guide emphasizes that process groups are not project phases. If the project is divided into phases, the processes in the process groups interact within each phase. Almost all process groups can be found within a phase. Almost all processes can be found in almost all phases. Returning to the software project lifecycle slide, let's recall that project phase is a collection of logically related project activities that culminate in the completion of one or more deliverables. And we also saw that project processes are sequences of activities that you perform in almost every phase of a project that can produce one or more deliverables. As we saw earlier, we have a process called Direct and Manage Project Work in the Execute process group. This process is responsible for 1. Leading and executing the work defined in the project management plan. 2. Implementing approved changes to achieve project objectives. 3. Performing change control to verify that any scope changes identified for this deliverable were implemented as approved. 4. Collecting information about the performance observed during the execution of the activities performed to produce a deliverable. It is easy to see that you will have this process running to produce all the deliverables, since in all of them you will have to execute the work, verify scope changes and collect performance information. So, this process can be present in requirements planning and analysis in the production of the feasibility study and the project management plan. but it will also be present in the production of the functional requirements document and the requirements traceability matrix in the requirements definition phase. In fact, the direct and manage project work process will be present in all the remaining phases of the project. But you will also find the other processes such as identify risks, develop schedule, manage quality, acquire resources, validate scope, to name a few, in all the phases of the project. In short, a project is composed of several phases. Within each phase, a series of design processes will be executed, culminating in the production of one or more deliverables. And it can be seen that the process groups will be executed in all phases of a project. Therefore, everything that has been said shows that design phases cannot be considered as design processes. And we conclude this presentation of differences between design phase and design processes. More videos coming soon. 1. Project life cycles. Here we will talk about predictive, iterative, incremental, adaptive, hybrid. 2. Examples using WBS Schedule Pro. 3. Examples of project plans using MS Project. And many more videos. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video and want us to continue with new topics. Subscribe to the channel. All content is free. You can also comment suggesting topics you would like to see on this channel. Thank you.